Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day guys and welcome to episode 142 of All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast. Rhodey, we have got a guest who's been on our show quite some time ago. I can't remember exactly what episode.
2022 May, I think it was episode 57.
Wow, there you go.
Jordan Saliba.
Jordan Saliba. It's going to be great to have a chat with him. He's been doing a whole range of different things. He loves kayak fishing. He's going to tell us all about some of his latest adventures. But before we do get into that chat, we've got to tick off some of our regular segments. Rhodey, let's get into oranges and lemons. What's your orange gonna be?
Dizzy, we are going to Cairns and Port Douglas in October. So about a couple of months away, but I booked a charter. That always feels good.
Do you reckon like anybody listening is just sort of like pretty standard?
Yeah.
The bloke goes to Port Douglas every year.
Yeah.
The bloke books a fishing charter every year.
We didn't go last year.
Yes, you did.
Nah.
You must have.
Nah.
Oh, I can't believe it.
We went for a wedding a couple of years ago in Lille. I reckon it's been 3 years. Went to Hamilton Island last year.
That was last year.
Yep. I reckon the last time we went was the wedding when Lille, it must have been 3 years ago. Okay. Lille was under a year.
Well, let's not get too much
so
into
don't
the
you
travel
be smart
plans.
with me.
Let's talk oranges.
But it is a good feeling to book a charter in some new territory. Hook up fishing charters we're going with this time.
Oh, you've got a different one.
Yes. Look, we stuffed up the dates if you want the honest story. They have these I reckon around that time of year, there's 3 months in a row and they have a 5-day fishing closure.
Right.
And that's basically when we're there. There's only 1 day or something that we're actually there that you're allowed to fish on the reef.
Wow. Okay.
So, and then I think he couldn't do that day or something. So he's recommended someone else. So hook up fishing charters in Port Douglas. Nice new boat, 2023 boat. Nice and new.
How many people are we talking on the boat?
I think it says takes up to 5. So it's not a big boat.
That's good.
Which is quite similar to Exceed sport fishing that we've been with before. So anyway, it's good to have that in the calendar booked away.
Hopefully the weather plays the game now for you, mate.
Yes, exactly right, Diz.
And the weather did not play the game for us. I'm going to roll into my lemon. We're going to mix it up here.
Yeah, this is confusing.
It was pouring down with rain.
So tell us what you got up to on the weekend, mate.
I went to Sydney.
Yeah, what for?
40th
Yep.
birthday party on the Sydney Harbour boat cruise.
Yep. So did you take a rod to dangle over the edge? I know they're keen fishers.
I did pack a rod. It was a little telescopic number.
And what did the skipper say? Get stuffed. You're not taking that on my boat?
Skipper was pretty happy with it. He said there's been a few kingfish floating around in Sydney Harbour that we could flick a little surface lure at occasionally.
Yeah, and what? You got stuck in the beers and forgot to do the fishing?
Oh, mate, the weather was horrible. It was blowing sideways. It was like a 50-foot boat, and it was the captain was yelling "hold on" the whole time. It was so.
Did anyone get sick?
Nah, it wasn't that bad, to be honest. I think if we were out on the heads, we would have been there definitely would have been some people seasick, but no, it was just sort of a gentle rock and roll occasionally, but. No, that was sort of my lemon and my orange, Rhodey, because it was nice being on Sydney Harbour on a boat cruise for a birthday party, but my lemon was how bad the weather was and the fact that I didn't catch any fish.
Fair enough. Well, Diz, my lemon last week was I talked a big game about taking the boat to Port Hughes and going fishing. Then I found out you were ditching me and going to bloody Sydney. Hugh couldn't come. Dad couldn't come. I tried a few others. No one wanted to come. And I should have just gone on my own, but I just softed out, didn't go. And then I saw that there were some pretty serious reports of whiting being caught, including the crew from Savage Tackle did an absolute number on the whiting at Port Hughes. So that just made me feel real silly for not going.
They always do well, those guys. So that would, that would have hit you where it really hurt. But look, we're going to get out there soon.
I reckon let's clear next weekend out.
Good call. All right, Rody, what's been happening on the socials lately? We're going to do our absolute best. We're going to keep this podcast very upbeat. Of course, there's been some updates on the Algal Bloom, and of course, we're going to keep you across some of those news stories. But there's been some good fishing to be had.
Yeah, there has Diz. There's a bit more positivity in social media, I think, and I think that announcement from Malinauskas that we will touch on was seen pretty well by the community. Do you reckon, Diz? Good to see the government. Probably took them a little while to get involved, but they're getting there.
And I think it's one of those things that they don't really know when it's going to go. So you could safely assume that if it hangs around longer, that they're probably going to need to put their hand in their pocket just a little bit deeper to keep supporting some of these industries that have been decimated. And I think it'd be fair to say that some of them are just really, really struggling at the moment. So anything that you can do to get around them, show your support, absolutely do it, because they really do need our support now more than ever. It's an interesting one, Rody, and we'll get into that a little bit later on in the news segment. And as I mentioned the news, I think it is time that we start it.
Rody and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and we'll give you the rundown on what you need to know.
Righto, Rody, give the listeners a bit of an update on the package that the government has announced for this Algal Bloom.
So, yes, Diz. Peter Malinauskas was walking down a jetty with Asher and Barry Brown, Diz, for this announcement. Might have been Semaphore, I believe.
Okay.
But it talks about how they are going to get behind the sort of bounce back of recreational fishing following this Algal Bloom. So it's promoting regional tourism, including artificial reefs and environmental projects. So, they're going to get involved in artificial reef building to assist the environment to recover, establish fish stocking programs in freshwater bodies, open additional reservoirs with some more details around that to come, boost tourism with RecFish SA to deliver 4 fishing events and competitions with local business, support RecFish SA fishing forums at tackle stores, and as we will talk about with Jordan, roll out over 100 statewide clinics and programs with RecFish SA. Diz.
There's a bit in that, mate, and very well covered. I think it's welcome news. As we said, we don't know how long this is going to last, and it's a great sign to see the government stepping up and supporting those that are being affected most. Brody, what else have we seen in some of the Algal Bloom recently?
There's a series of forums that's starting up, Diz. So these are held by the government. There was one, actually, it's on right now, or just been held as we're recording now. So Tuesday the 5th of August at 6:30 p.m. in Brighton. So too late to get to that one. If you go on the algalbloom.sa.gov.au website, there is more across the state. I think there's more being announced. And you can hear from science and health experts and ask questions. There is also a larger scale, Dizzy, a Channel 7 news event. That one's being held at the Port Elliot Surf Lifesaving Club. That one is, I think it's tomorrow, so the 6th of August. I think it's about 7 o'clock. And that one's, I assume it's being streamed live on Channel 7, Diz. So yeah, hopefully some people get down there and are able to pose some questions live, and the rest of us can sit at home and follow along.
Yep, very good. Brody, the state parliament, all the cabinet went down to Ardrossan and visited the Yorke Peninsula to see how devastating the impact is there, particularly on the St Vincent side of the Gulf at the moment. Of course, the bigger Gulf at the Spencer is less affected at the moment, although it's certainly a case of watch and wait and see, because it very much is spreading across the state. But I think it was nice that they went down there and saw the impact firsthand. I'm sure there's a lot of people down there, whether it be tourism, hoteliers, and any other industry for that matter, that does rely on recreational fishing of sorts, because so much of our great state does. They would be suffering, Rody.
They certainly would, Diz, and a lot of the chat around that event was to do with the grants that eligible businesses, commercial businesses can apply for, so good to see that getting up and going, Diz. And there was also something came out about the BOM and CSIRO are going to be doing some monitoring and some predicting of water temperatures, Diz, so potentially to predict future marine heat waves. I don't know how accurately that can be done, but I suppose those people are a lot smarter than we are.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think there's probably a fair bit of artificial intelligence going into some of this stuff. Would you think?
Yeah, I imagine. I suppose the question I have is, it's all good and well to say, look, we predict this heat wave, marine heat wave is starting, but what do you do about it? If it's coming, how do you stop the algae from taking off?
Yeah, it's a good point.
I'm a thinker, mate. I'm a thinker.
Yep, you're smarter than you look because you look dumb.
Thanks. All right, Diz, this is sort of not really related to the algae, but it's still a bit related. Diz, Ozfish Unlimited, the Adelaide chapter, has got a truckload of oyster shells. What are they going to do with them?
Mate, I know exactly what they're doing them.
They're rebuilding lost native oyster reefs.
Yep. Of course they are.
And that
Obvious.
will provide a boost in fish habitat and water filtration. So they've given a huge thank you to West Point Shellfish for the shell donation and DWE Services for getting it to the site safely. So you can see here in these pictures, which is always good for me to talk about pictures on a podcast when no one can see them, but there are sort of mesh cages that they fill up with used oyster shells, Diz, and then that becomes would it become a substrate for other species to grow on?
Yeah. And I mean, I've always said, what grows better than an oyster on an oyster?
Well, you're a thinker, mate. So anyway, that'll be good because we know a lot of this bounce back from the algae will be about habitat restoration, giving all the little organisms places to live and grow that our big fish can go and munch on.
Good call, Rody. Good call. All right, Rody, what else is coming out of the RecFish SA camp? Because I've been doing a lot of work with the state government around advocacy for supporting the industry.
Yes, Diz, and they've announced that Australian bass has been secured for stocking within some of SA's reservoirs, including Happy Valley, South Parra and the Warren Reservoir. Further sites will be confirmed after this season. And Diz, that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be great. I mean, anybody who's a bit of a fishing nerd would see how big the bass tournaments are in the States.
Yes.
And look, I'm not going to suggest for 1 second that we're going to have bass tournaments that big at the Happy Valley Reservoir, but
maybe that could be our little thing.
It's another option.
That could be our little thing. So RecFish have also thanked SA Water for working in collaboration to achieve this, Diz, and we will wait for more details on when and where this stocking's going to take place.
Good stuff. All right, Rody, the Ardrossan jetty has been closed for a very lengthy period of time.
6 months from late August 2025. So that's going to take us into and past Christmas. Yeah, if my maths is correct.
Which is interesting because there's not a lot of jetties around. I suppose your next one's probably Port Julia.
Yeah, but Diz, I've been fishing there with you before and you guaranteed me squid and you don't get them on low tide.
And after that, it's probably Port Vincent, although Vincent doesn't really have a jetty per se. They've got the marina and the wharf there where you can fish off.
You maybe keep going to Wool Bay. There's squid there.
Interesting. But look, it's there's some jetty pile replacement works being done. I'm sure anybody who's been following the Algal Bloom has actually seen the devastating effects of it from that great underwater footage of the Ardrossan jetty. So, I don't suppose at this point in time there's probably been a lot of fishing there, but nonetheless, it's still a lengthy period of time for it to be closed because, as we know, a lot of people use the jetty for, recreational activities of all kinds.
And it is, is it good timing or bad timing? Maybe they've said no one's fishing here for a while anyway, so we might as well get it done. But it does also say that, these vital works will replace aging piles and associated components to ensure the long-term safety and usability of this community asset. So the council has acknowledged that the timing is not ideal, but they're saying that it needs to be done to keep the jetty usable into the future, which is a great thing. Potentially the timing leading into summer's not ideal, but Diz, we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully that doesn't pile too much more pain on the local caravan parks, pubs, tackle shops, all these businesses that have been hit by the algal bloom already.
Good call, Reddy. We'll keep a close eye on that one. And that just wraps up a juicy little news segment. Of course, I think there's some real takeaways there, and none more so important than getting down and supporting some of those local industries that have been affected by that. Of course, we will talk about it a little bit later on in the fishing report, but the government has also made announcements around supporting an advertising campaign to buy local seafood. Basically, if you are seeing it in a seafood store, your favourite seafood store, then it is safe to eat.
Yes, and Mally outlined that well, didn't he?
Yes.
Did you see his videos?
Of course he did. I think he was doing garfish.
Yeah, do you know what I had for dinner?
Garfish.
Garfish.
What was he doing, garfish and chips, do you reckon?
Do you know what I told everyone
Garfish
last time we had
wraps?
fish and chips? We were out of fish. Do you know what I did? I dug through the freezer and I found some more.
Oh, you found some more. Was it freezer burnt?
No, it was good. It was only a couple of months old. It was good.
days.
It was from Easter, I reckon, actually, Diz.
Good stuff.
So we had, what do we have? 7 garfish.
That was probably my share that you didn't
It
drop off
was.
to me.
It probably was. 7 garfish in one big squid hood.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful dinner. Crumbed, chips.
Beautiful.
Went down a treat.
We should probably cover this off in the fishing report. But nonetheless, let's move on to tackle item of the week.
Now it's time for Rhodey and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
All right, Dizzy, we've got another great rod here from Shimano. It's the Azalis. It's a light tackle rod, and we have got one of their beautiful 702 spin rods to give away, Diz. And we're going to announce some details about that coming up in the next few weeks. But this is a great range of rods, Diz.
Oh, it's a fantastic piece of kit. It looks absolutely beautiful. You are going to be turning some heads as you walk down the jetty, or you load this into your boat, or you go on land-based. Whatever fishing you're into, you'll be turning heads with this piece of kit. It is absolutely fantastic. Another great piece of another fantastic rod from Shimano. Rhodey, as we were saying earlier, if you said to me 10 years ago that you would have been able to pick up that sort of quality rod for a great price of around $100, you'd be kidding yourself.
You certainly would, Diz, and we've got the medium light spin at 7 foot long. It's a 2-piece rod. Recommended retail of $99.99. So that is an absolute bargain, Diz. It's got the Fuji KO ring guides, 24-ton graphite. Now, Diz, you built a rod once upon a time, didn't you?
I did.
Can you explain to me 24-ton graphite? What does that mean?
I don't know.
I'm Googling it and I'm getting
I don't know
something.
I'll tell you what, it was my year 9 project.
Yep.
It was bloody fantastic. We had a Sabre blank.
Yep.
We spun the whole thing up ourselves. We did double binds on the guides. Had a nice little colourful pattern on the just above the reel seat.
Yep. Green and yellow, I've seen it.
Green and gold. I think there might have been black in there too. The 3 colours.
You still use that rod sometimes, or you have until not that long ago?
I don't want to lose that. That thing's got some sentimental value if I've ever seen it.
Very good. Now, Diz, I'm reading here saying that some say the tonnage equals the pressure placed on the graphite when rolling them into sheets, which means 24-ton graphite is rolled using 24 tons of pressure. Oof. And then it says that's not 100% correct. So it doesn't really give us a...
Did you chat GPT that? Or?
No, but I might. But Diz, I'm going to send that as your homework for the next episode. I want to know...
I was going to say, can somebody just dial us in a voice memo?
Yes, I'd like someone to tell me, someone smarter than us, tell us exactly what 24-ton graphite means.
What I will tell you about fishing rods when I made them is you need to be able to find the backbone of the blank.
Yep.
And then you need to run the guides along the other side of the backbone. And that's how you ensure the greatest strength of the rods. And you can test that in your local tackle shop. I'm sure if you head down to a wonderful tackle shorelight sport fishing scene, they'll be able to show you what we mean by the backbone of a fishing rod. So that's a little helpful tip for you all out there.
Does say here that 24-ton rated rods are a lot more forgiving. They can handle good amounts of bend before breaking.
Oh, there you go.
So, Diz, that's all I can tell you. I'm going to do a bit more Googling, but I would love someone to give us a better answer. Maybe someone from Shimano's listening, and they can tell us why this Azalis rod is so good for such a good price and what that 24-ton graphite means.
Good stuff, Rhodey. All right, mate. Well, we are just about to get our guest on the line, and it's going to be wonderful to hear all the fishing and all the socials and all the articles he's been writing of late. Let's get him on the line.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
Well, Rhodey, we are very lucky to be joined by Jordan Saliba, who's been on the show with us in the past. Mate, it's great to have you on again. Thank you for joining.
No, thank you for having me on again. It's been a while, and looking forward to having another chat.
Very good. Now, Jordan, we last spoke to you in May 2022, episode 57. So a fair bit has gone on since then. We talked all about your Instagram, your Facebook, and we've gone on to bigger and better things. You're doing SA Angler. You've still got your social media. You're involved in RecFish. We're going to talk about all of that. But before we do, we're not going to ask you the full 5 questions. But is there a memorable fish you've caught since May 2022?
Yeah, last time I was on here, to be honest, I didn't really have a memorable fish. But shortly after I was on, obviously I caught that kingfish on my kayak at Rapid Bay. And that hands down, still the best fish I've ever caught, and probably one of the better days I've had in my life so far. That kingfish on the kayak, I think, takes the cake for now.
All right, tell us about that one. Give us a few details. Where were you? Was it jigging, lure, live bait? What was it?
Yeah, well, a few of the listeners may know down at Rapid Bay, certain times of the year, we get a lot of kingfish schooling up around the old jetty there. And I took my kayak down there one morning, caught a few squid at first light, and then set mine out, and maybe 8:30-ish. Had a run from a 91 centimetre kingfish on the kayak. And it was the fight is just absolutely crazy, and was lucky enough to land it. That was one of the best fishing trips I think I've ever been on, and everything went to plan that day. But I can say I have been in like another 6 to 7 times and caught nothing. That's you don't see that on the YouTube though.
No,
that's right.
Well, don't worry about that. Dizzy has enough trouble getting a 91 centimetre kingfish in the boat, so you're doing well in the kayak, mate. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, actually, we fluked one.
And that was going to be my next question, actually, was how many times had you been out there chasing them, and have you had any sort of like bust offs, or did you get close to landing one in the past, or that was sort of the first time you've really got into them?
Yeah, no, I reckon I may have had one other hit on one of the live squid that I had out, but I've never actually connected to one since that. And that time that I actually caught the fish was the first ever trip I went on. So I went out thinking, this is like, what's hard about this again? Like, and then, 6 or 7 times after that, didn't even get a sniff. And the leather jackets just eat the squid when they're down below the kayak, and it's just a nightmare. So, it's a lot harder than it looks, for sure.
Epic, mate. Well done. And I do recall seeing a few social posts about that, and I remember being quite impressed with your catch on that one. So it's great to have you on and talk about that. Now, mate, any other fishing that you've been doing recently? I know, and we're certainly going to have a chat with you a little bit about the Algal Bloom, but for now, tell us about any sort of recent trips you've been out on of late.
Yeah, I've still been trying to head out. I know a lot of people probably think the fishing's sort of dead at the moment, which to an extent it kind of is, but there is still a lot of things you can do. And one of those things is down Yorke's off Moota Jetty. The squid are actually doing pretty well down there at the moment. So there's one thing I've been trying to do a little bit. The Yorke Peninsula as well. The last few months I've been trying to catch my first muddleway in there. So I've been putting a lot of hours into that. Still haven't caught anything. I've had a few false alarms with bream taking live mullet and stuff. But been putting a lot of hours into the onk, and I don't know, maybe just before the algal bloom happened, took the kayak out a few times and got some King George and squid as well, which is probably one of my favourite things to do off the kayak. It's just very easy, and they provide a really good feed.
Beautiful. Now, we know you love your kayak fishing, and I've been scrolling through your social media and I found something that's very different to the kayak. You had a bit of a whirl with some drone fishing, I see.
Yeah. So
is that your drone, or tell us the story about that and how it all works?
Yeah, I picked myself up a Aero Pro drone just recently, and I thought, it's not really something you see a lot in South Australia with your drone fishing, and there sort of is a reason for it because there's not too many locations that you can take it to and do drone fishing. But I thought it'd be a good idea to try, and so I ended up getting the Aero Pro drone, which is a proper fishing drone. It's got a little attachment on the bottom of the drone where you attach a line to, so you can actually fly your bait out as far as you really want to, and then with the click of a button releases the bait. So I've tried it out in a few spots off the few of the beaches, trying to catch some mulloway. No luck though. And then I've tried it off the Bluff jetty as well, sending out baits like 250 to 300 meters out. But unfortunately caught nothing yet. The only thing I have caught with the drone is a little eagle ray off Long Beach in Robe.
Oh,
so,
but bad.
It is really good fun, and it changes the perspective of things, and you can see where you're dropping your bait exactly. So it does come in handy, especially for like salmon fishing. And that
is it hard to figure out all the logistics of the line and the drone and flying and managing the rod and the reel and all that, or it's pretty simple?
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot going on. There's a lot of things you got to think about as well, like before you take off your drone, you don't want your line to be above the sand, because when the drone takes off, the line can get stuck in the propellers. So there was a lot of that sort of thing that I had to learn pretty quickly. But once you get the logistics of it, it is very simple. It's a step-by-step process in setting it up, but it does take a little while to actually get the bait out there. But with a bit of practice and a bit of pre-research, it is becomes a lot easier, I guess.
Yeah, epic, mate. Brilliant stuff. It's always been something that I've seen a few YouTube videos on and always thought, I wouldn't mind having a crack at that. But you're right, there certainly seems to be some hot spots. I've seen quite a few clips of people fishing on the East Coast, some areas where they seem to love it. But no, good on you, mate, for giving it a crack. And the other things you've been up to, you've still been doing a bit of writing and some articles and that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, my last article was on the Aero Pro drone. So, that's in the latest issue of SA Angler now. It was just basically how or what sort of drones you should be looking for, some little tips and tricks and locations. And, it's a pretty interesting read. I'd recommend getting on there and then reading some of the other articles along with it as well. But that's one I've just had published, and not really working on any at the moment. Hence, the fishing has been pretty ordinary. But definitely I'll try and get one in the next issue, I think. But I have to do some brainstorming.
Beautiful. You've been getting one in most of the editions, Jordan, is that right?
Yeah, I've probably been in the last 4 to 5, I think.
All right, give us a quick rundown what else you've talked about.
Ooh.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
I think there was a squid fishing one. There was a kayak one, focusing on whiting, squid and snook. And then there may have been another kayak one as well. I think, a lot of mine have been kayak based, because I don't think a lot of people have really looked into that in the article yet. So it is good to give a different perspective on fishing as well, because you do see a lot of land-based stuff in the magazine.
Yeah, and there's just so much bloody good content in that magazine. It's sort of, it's good that you keep contributing, mate. It's always good to have a flick through your articles. And we also did want to talk to you a little bit about the algal bloom. We've been very conscious on the podcast to not have the doom and gloom aspects like we've sort of talked about briefly, because as you said, there's so many other things in fishing that you can be trying, whether you're going land-based or trying out a different area and those sorts of things. It's certainly still plenty of good reasons to get out and get amongst it. It might just be that your usual spot or whatever, your favourite spot that's been around for a while is suffering through this algal bloom. But Jordan, give us your perspective on things, mate. What have you been witnessing? Have you been down to the beach to see it? What are you hearing?
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of the stuff washed up, which is, we look back a year prior to now, it's amazing how much it changes and, the effect it's having on a lot of industries and fishermen's, and not even like, I know the fishing aspect, the tourism, all the tackle shops are doing it tough at the moment. So that's probably the hardest thing as like a recreational fisher to see. But yeah, there is still a lot of things you can do. You just got to sort of do a little bit of research and experiment a few new spots. But a lot of my spots have been affected, which is probably why you haven't seen many videos on the YouTube channel at the moment. But yeah, it's obviously a pretty confusing time for a lot of people as well. But yeah, I think the government and all of that are definitely starting to pick up on it a little bit more, which is very good to see. But yeah, it's I haven't experienced anything like this before. So I guess, we're all learning together in this sort of thing.
Yeah, you mentioned the tackle shops and the charter operators, and they're probably the ones I feel for a lot. They've had a rough trot with the snapper ban, rolled into COVID, rolled into the algal bloom. So it's a good reminder to get behind them and maybe go out there and buy a charter voucher for Christmas, or go and get your tackle and your new gear locally rather than buying it from one of the big websites. So that's a good reminder there.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of local tackle shops. We got, sport fishing scene. I think Ray and Anne's was doing it quite tough as well. But that's just to say, two of them out of all the ones that we got, and especially the ones over in Yorks and down south who don't get as much attention as the ones that would obviously in the city. So yeah, if instead of going to your big companies and organisations, definitely consider going down to your local and getting something there. And I can say from experience that the knowledge that you get from the staff in those tackle shops as well is a lot better than you would get from BCFs or Anacondas, those sort of things.
Very good. Now, Jordan, you also do a bit of work for RecFish, running clinics and helping out with those sort of things. I understand. So that's on a bit of a break over the winter, I think. Is that right? But it'll ramp up again soon?
Yeah, I think we just got an email the other day saying, the clinics will start in September, I think, again. So, yeah, that was really good. I did 3 or 4 clinics last year. So we did a few schools. And, yeah, it was really good. Like, the kids love it. And we keep it really simple for them. We've headed down to Happy Valley for one of them just to catch cod. And, yeah, I think we got 3 or 4 in that session. We did one in Semaphore as well, just catching your real bread and butter species. So, yeah, that'll start up in September again. And, yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty of clinics and plenty of places to fish, hopefully.
Yeah, that must be rewarding. Teaching people how to fish and getting them involved must be a good thing to do, good thing to contribute back.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And, most of us recreational fishers now got the inspiration from, our parents or, people that are older than us. So for those kids who don't have that sort of role model, it is good for us to be that for them, I guess, and get them into fishing as well, which is going to benefit everyone for the future.
Very good. Now, I think that was a part of that announcement by the Premier the other day. So it's good to see they've promised to roll out 100 statewide fishing clinics and programs through RecFish. So good to see that will continue into the future.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really good. And, yeah, if anyone's listening or you want to get your school involved, you can just contact RecFish and, yeah, they'll sort the clinics out for you.
Very good. Now, last question. It'd be silly while we have the kayak guru himself on the podcast. buying a kayak. It's something that we always say, oh, it'd be good to have a kayak. It'd be a bit easier rather than towing the boat everywhere. Get out a bit quicker, a bit easier. What would be your advice for someone wanting to get into kayak fishing? What setup to get, what to consider?
Yeah, I'm probably the perfect person to ask because I wanted to get into kayak fishing and I tried to get the cheap way out of it and got, your standard $300 2.7 meter kayak with, nothing really flashy about it. But you do soon realize very quickly especially when you're anchored in your whiting spots and it gets a little bit choppy, or you've got to go paddling for long distances, that it's just becomes way too hard. So if you were looking to get into kayak fishing, I would just buy it once, buy it right, and probably go for a Hobie or something along there. You don't have to get the most expensive kayak, but I would recommend getting something with a pedal. So instead of using the paddle with your arms, definitely go for something where you're paddling with your feet. That would be my biggest tip, just to try and get the good kayak before you worry about anything else. And then if you're, little guy like me, you would probably look at something around 3.4 to 3.5 meters in length. Just something that can give you a lot of storage and stability. Because if you want to take your kayak out to those deeper spots, or go fishing for kingfish where you're going to get towed around a little bit, it's just always nice having that little bit of security and stability on the kayak when you're getting rocked around a little bit. Yeah, that would probably be my biggest tip, I think.
Brilliant, mate. That is very helpful for anybody out there looking to get into kayak fishing. And, mate, it has been fantastic having you back on the show, giving us a bit of an insight into some of the fishing you've been doing lately. And, of course, hearing about that kingfish was certainly a highlight for me. So thank you very much again, mate. We're looking forward to seeing all the fishing you continue to get up to on your socials and read about it in the SA Angler articles. It's thanks again for your time and joining us on the show.
That's all good. Thank you for having me on. And you probably see me wearing that beanie around. I've been wearing it absolutely everywhere.
Beautiful. Thanks, Jordan. Good to chat.
All good. Thank you very much.
Geez, it was good to chat to Jordan again. I think, what did you say, episode 52?
57.
57. So that was interesting because we'd sort of just raised the bat for 50. We really got our eye in. We probably had the new mixer.
Oh, geez, you're testing me. I'm not sure we would have. Maybe.
Anyway, we've come leaps and bounds. We're almost 100 episodes on.
Yeah. No, we're looking at 150, mate. We're getting there real soon.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, Rody, let's get into the fishing report.
Rody and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Not that you're going to be able to speak from personal experience here, Rody, but the whiting are biting at Port Hughes.
Yes, Diz. So Savage Tackle. I think Simon went out with the new owner of Savage Tackle from Port Hughes, and they said they had the best King George whiting session ever. They caught over 80-odd King George whiting. They said they kept their bag limit of their boat limit of 30. Along the way, they tagged and released about another boat limit. So that's another 30 fish. And then they put back a lot that were just on legal size. So there was no measuring for them.
Wow. That's a good session.
And they said heaps of squid around too.
Wow. Yeah, we should go.
And I think the charter's been doing well over there too, Deers. We mentioned that last time, but I think they are still firing, and that is really, really good to hear. So that's where I'd be heading, Deers, Port Hughes, Moonta, Wallaroo, that sort of part of the Yorke Peninsula. Even further down, I think they're still getting fish, Deers, a bit further down, Port Victoria and those sort of parts.
Yeah, nice, mate. Love it. So what are you doing on Friday? Shall we go?
Yeah, work, but no, that's fine. We'll be there.
Nah, very good. So that is a very good reminder, Rhodey, that although, of course, you'll see the news segment absolutely dominated by Algal Bloom, there are still some wonderful parts of South Australia that you can get out to and enjoy the great outdoors and get stuck into a great feed of King George whiting and other very lovely species that we're very well known for. And speaking of other species, mate, the barrels are back at Port Mac.
Yes, there's a couple of fellas, Corey Edwards and Linton Badman, boated a good barrel off Port MacDonald last weekend. So that's good to see, Diz, because they've been quiet for quite a while, quite a few months. And I did see that Want to Fish is getting back in the water. I don't know if they're out for maintenance or something.
Yeah.
But I think the weekend forecast down there is looking pretty good. So fingers crossed, plenty of boats get out, they find them, and then we'll go the week after.
Good shout. Good shout. We're also seeing some reports. Jackknife Adventures do a great job on the socials. They've done really well on the nannies.
Yeah, nannies at Marion Bay. And I also saw a couple of reports of Victor Harbour of Nanaga. I don't know how far out or any more details than that.
So maybe some of that blue water fishing still going all right?
Maybe, yeah. I think that's probably what we'd make of that, Diz. So that'll be another good one to get into. I suppose the other thing this time of year that everyone's doing is salmon, and I think they're going well. The Australian salmon competition over at Elliston continues.
Yes.
Flurio's got fish too, and...
The river.
Oh, the river's got salmon?
No, the river doesn't have salmon, but the river's got fish.
You just interjected that like you had the next salmon location.
No, the river's got fish. They're holding good fish.
Yeah, not salmon though?
No, not salmon. Inland salmon. Inland salmons.
Yeah, all right. Good story, mate. Whereabouts?
Just the usual areas around Renmark's fishing really well.
Yes, good spot up there. Love Renmark.
Yeah. I had a friend who doesn't mind going up there for a duck hunt occasionally.
Oh, did he take a rod too?
Yes.
Is this your mate you went shooting with the other week?
Yeah.
So he's been catching fish up there too?
Yeah. Got a catfish.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, catfish and a good feed of yellow belly.
Ooh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, so that was
very good.
That was good.
Rivers could be the place to be still, Diz. It's
yeah, and there's a cod closure?
It's just closed. Yeah, the Lower Murray Lure Fishing Club had their cod weekend a couple of weeks ago.
I thought they did, yeah.
So that was, must have, I think 1st of August it's closed.
Yeah, good stuff, Roddy. Well, not a bad little news segment. I know you thought I was talking about inland salmon there, but I wasn't.
Yeah, you had me all sorts of confused, mate.
Good stuff, Roddy. Where can the listeners find us?
Dizzy, we are on your Spotify, your Apple Music. We're on the socials, Facebook, Instagram. You can see my garfish I ate for dinner. And we would love someone to tell us about 24-ton graphite rods. Can someone please send us a voicemail?
Seriously, voicemail.
I'm sick of hearing Dizzy's voice. I want something smarter.
Send us anything with your voice.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Thanks to Jordan Saliba for joining us again. And Diz, thanks for telling us about the inland salmon.
Anytime, mate. We'll see you next week.
Rhodey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.